Hey everybody, we're getting going. One second. Almost there. I hate when you start up your computer and it seems to forget like everything you were working on before. What the hell? It's like, what are you doing? Go back to normal life. All right, we're going to jump in. Welcome, everybody. My name is Josh. This is the Gaming Joy channel, and we are playing Farm Sim tonight, and we're going to actually test out some new maps. Now, I have sort of seen Bruce tour these maps, but in all honesty, I was only half watching on purpose. Nothing against Bruce's tours. Bruce does awesome tours. So if you don't ever seen one of Bruce's tours, please check them out. They're pretty awesome. But I was intentionally not completely watching because I want to have a fresh look at myself. So we will go into it myself. Because I want to see the things that I see and not see the things that Bruce saw. If that makes any sense. All right. So let's look at it. So we're going to go start off with the Panhandle. This is by Shultz Modding. This is Shultz's first map on FS25. First map on ModHub as far as I know. And there was a little bit of, I don't know if a controversy, but Giants had some issues with it because it conflicted with another map or something. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, apparently it had something to do with one of the placeables. It's been fixed. It's now released. It's not in the new maps today. It's in the new maps yesterday. And it's because there's a ton of new maps today. There's like 4 or 5 new maps, plus a ton of updates. It's actually on the second page. So if you want to see this map, it is on ModHub. It's just in yesterday's releases, even though it technically didn't go live until today. But it is what it is. Let's check it out. I'm trying to start off with minimal mods. Now, I obviously don't need... So one cool thing about Shultz's map is... hold on. Eyes... is that it doesn't have very many required mods. So if we come in here and we hit start, it's going to say you need only those. So automatically select the ones that it needs. So I have a bunch of other mods here. These are all for another map that we might look at tonight if we can get there. But for the most part, these are all for another map. So I'm going to do the same ones that I always do on every map. My Batwing, Lumberjack, Player Movement, my Ridge Track Tractor that we did as a live modding thing, and I still haven't touched it since that live modding. So if you want it, it's on my Discord. And store deliveries just for the sake of it. And there's a few things that are required. It's his central ethanol plant, which is Shultz's mod. Buildable feedlot mat, which is also Shultz's mod. Hog confinement, again Shultz's mod, and the commodity shed, all Shultz's mod. He's done some really awesome mods for Farm Sim so far, and it's really great to see Shultz finally come out with a map, which is just so good to see. And I'm looking forward to it. And he actually reached out to me directly last night and said, "Hey, what'd you think?" And I said, "Well, I only half watched Bruce for like 30 minutes. I wasn't really watching, so I'm gonna get into it and look at it myself." Now we do have 4 maps to go through tonight. This one is probably gonna take the longest. One of the other maps we've already toured. We're just touring it again. And the other 2 maps are less detailed than this. So we'll see. And we're gonna go from here and just kind of go with the starting equipment and see what we see. Well, welcome in everybody. Thanks for being here. And here we are on the Panhandle. Gosh darn, this looks like some crazy stuff. Anyways, and we have a John Deere dealership. So it is what it is. You know, if you like Deere, then that's cool. If you don't, then too bad. Can you open the door? Ah, you can open the door. I think this actually looks like the same dealership that's been in the same dealership model that's been in a lot of maps. Sometimes they have people on the desk. Sometimes they have more posters on the wall. I think it's a pretty flexible mod for your usage in your own gameplay. But this is the store. And we go into our vehicle dealer. If we buy a vehicle, let's see where they spawn. Customize. We'll do the overdrive version. Buy, yes. And we'll buy the Batwing just in case we need it later. I don't know if we will. I don't have enough money. Whatever. Lease. Yes. Okay. Anyways, so it looks like, where are we spawning vehicles? Oh, that's cool. I kind of like the flags with like the line of rocks. I would have liked to see different rocks. They're all the exact same rock, almost the same rock in the same rotation. So it's like the same thing over and over. I would have kind of liked to see something a little bit more pattern there, but whatever. It looks like we have a significant amount of space. I'm assuming that row 1 is going to be from here all the way down this way, and then row 2 is going to be behind it. That's my expectation. We won't know until we actually go around, but that's your dealership. That's where you start off, and that's where you spawn. A nice area for spawning. Now we're going to go into flight mode. Snow flight mode. And look at the map real quick, and then we're gonna, after we loop around the map in flight mode, we'll jump in and check out the starting farm and go from there. So overall, I think the map is, it's not, you can see that it's not perfectly flat, but it's relatively flat. So this is not a hilly map, it's a more flat map, but I do like the fact that it's not perfectly flat. Too many of the maps that are US based are just pancake flat, and to me, I want a little bit of terrain, because terrain just isn't pancake flat. It never is. In real life, terrain just isn't flat like that. And if you have your map where your map is flat like that, then you're kind of missing out, right? Anyways, and I also like the fact the dealership is not on the perfect 90-degree rotation. Do you notice that? Like, it looks like our spawn area is on a 90-degree rotation, which is good, but the dealership's not. Like, buildings are not built north, south, east, west. They are built on angles sometimes. But you know, it is what it is. Let's go clockwise so we can end up back at the dealership. We've got some awesome stuff here. Let's actually get our bigger view of our map on here, which is the button. So it looks like down here we're down here in the southwest, and it looks like so much other stuff here. There's tractors showing up on there and trucks showing up on there. I wonder if they're ours or we can use them. That's interesting. And then we got some really big fields. Looks like field 1 is gigantic. Field 15 and 19 are also pretty dang big. And we got a train. And from what I remember on Bruce's, it is a train that you can rent and tour. And it looks like the edge of the map is over here, just past the train. And now I'm stuck on the edge of the map, like I always get stuck on the edge of the map. Hold on. How high is the map edge? There we go. It's pretty high. That's not bad. All right, so it looks like we got a cafe. We got some sell points along here. We have this building right here, gas station right there. And then I'm assuming a container factory back here. Train station to rent the train, a silo for the silo, gas station in front. I was missing an icon there, a bummer. Also missing an icon, missing icons. I like to see icons like this so you can see what it looks like in place. And so as an improvement, it's nothing broken, obviously, but as an improvement, I would love to see some actual store icons for these little thumbnails, just so you see what's there. I think that makes sense and helps the realism, I guess. But yeah, and then we got, this thing is a liquid fertilizer. Well, hold on. Liquid fertilizer, herbicide, and propane buy point. Okay, let's go look at that. So this is a liquid fertilizer propane buy point right here. And so the rest of this is just deco. I do like these silos here that are here as deco. And even though they are deco, I would... Shultz, can I use those models? Or can I make a silo system out of that model? Have you made a silo system out of that model? That's a nice model. I wouldn't mind something like that that you could kind of expand and build on. That would be cool. Grain. A little bunch of extra sheds, decorations here. I like the usage of this plant. I think Shultz said that this plant here is from Sri Lanka. Is it this one or is it the other one? Wherever it's from, this plant is really cool. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Where was I? I was over here. From the Giant's Dairy. Okay, cool, cool. Oh, the Giant's Dairy. Interesting. Thank you for being here, Shultz. Welcome in. Thanks for coming along. I would say, depending on what you look for in maps, I would say that this map is sparsely decorated, but it's decorated. You know, you got lots of containers and like buildings and stuff like that, but you don't have like the trash and cracks on the ground and stuff like that that some other maps have more of. It's decorated, but sparsely decorated, which for a lot of people is really all they need. We have this production facility down here. This is the cement. Holy crap. That's a cement factory and a lime and fertilizer buy point. So, okay. So this is a cement factory. That's the production. This is going to be probably where it spawns out. That's cool. Where's the drop off? Where's the drop off? Where's the drop off? That's a trigger. How do I drop stuff off into the cement factory? Oh, here it is. Right here. Duh. So the drop off is here, and that looks like the pallet spawn is right there. That's pretty cool. I like that. Spreading it out a bit, making it kind of a big feature of the map. I like that. Only downside, though, is... like, if you're dropping off stones, those don't look like stones. I would love it if those actually looked like stones. Or like this was stones, this was lime, this was fertilizer, this was seed, because this is a bulk buy point, right? Yeah, lime and fertilizer buy point. So that would be super cool if these like piles here were actually the product you were going to be buying, or at least they looked like it. That would be pretty cool. I like this texture here. This texture is kind of cool. We're going to have to get the Batwing out here and mow it and see what happens. Because of what it looks like is it looks like there's two different things happening here. There's grass and there's weeds. And depending on your mower and depending on how your mower's settings work and depending on the map setup, if this is a plot of land we can own and mow, or any of these plots of land that have this kind of weed and grass texture, what will happen when we mow it? So we'll have to test that. Here's an animal dealer. I love the fact the animal dealer has live animals in it. Looks like we only have cows. That's okay. This has a feed lot on it, so this is a cow-based map. I wouldn't expect to see more than that. That's cool. And then we got some big fields, big square fields. So if what you like is big square fields, more power to you. Looks like this could be a buyable farm property here. Let me look. Yep, $132,000 buyable farm property. It's going to use these meridian silos, which you're going to need the auger in the top. You're going to need a really tall auger for those. I believe this is Shultz's building, and some meridian. What are those called? There's a name for those. Quonset huts. Well, we got some of these. This is big square American farming. But you know, as we look into this big square American farming, these fields are not flat. They're undulating a little bit. Not completely, nothing that's going to need extra horsepower, but enough for some realism and enough for some feeling that something is happening. That's not, I hit the wrong button again. Sorry. We get back to where I was. Where was I? I was over here. Well, that's interesting. Oh, that's cool. Look at this. This is cool. I kind of like how this whole like aqueduct thing. I like how this aqueduct thing is done. In all honesty, like I like the fact that it's using like a concrete texture. I think I'm on the fence whether I like it. Would have wanted it to be smoother than this, because I think if it was concrete, it would be like perfectly straight, perfectly smooth. But this isn't. This is cool, like an aqueduct thing. We have a lot of these style of aqueducts in California, also, where you got this big, wide aqueduct that brings water to all the fields. And I like the look of it, and I like the integration with the map. And then I also like how we added some nice bridges to go over it. And this does really look like a good concrete texture. And so these are gonna, if you drive into these aqueducts, you're gonna be having some problems, I think. But I like it a lot. I do really like that, especially like this bridge right here. This one's my favorite, which has the opening right here that goes underneath, and then the thing across, and yada yada yada. I think I like that a lot. It came out really well done. The only one thing I would almost do is I would almost put a black texture right here, so that it's just like dark underneath the bridge, because you can kind of see the ground that's there, because of this. Like the ground is higher than the bridge itself. And so there's this weird little lippity lip thing here, and it looks like it's kind of glitching too. Like the texture is glitching. That's kind of strange. But not a big deal. These are cool barns. What are these? Here, let's get some money. I can't add a dash in there. I added the letter I was in that string somehow, and it still did it. It still did the thing. It still added money. So anyways, it gave me billions of dollars. $10 billion. I like these feedlot things, right? And let's buy it. See what we get. Buy. Okay, so these are the hog confinements. This is Shultz Mod hog confinement, and which we got animal triggers right here for dumping your animals in, right here for putting bales in on the front, and then these are, storage quote unquote for all your stuff, which is super cool. I love these buildings. I really like the idea of having this massive hog complex. And if we look at our animal menu, that's how many animals? 12. Oh, hello. 1,200 pigs per confinement. Oh my goodness. I've never looked at this mod before, Shultz. My apologies. I've been outside of modding for a long time. Or I haven't been looking at other people's mods. I've been focusing on my own mods. But 1,200 is pretty insane. That's a lot of pigs. And speaking of pig poo, that's a good call out. What the hell? What just happened? Sorry, I have to do it again. If you are using the running thing, there's a chance you can run into walls. You run too fast. But speaking of pig poo, we have the hog confinement, but there's no setup for slurry or do you get manure from pigs? You do, right? There's no setup for slurry or manure. Yeah, I know. Our good friend who does pigs? Who's the one who does pig? Mr. Piggy. Oh, Slurry is built into the buildings, but no manure. Okay. And then if you wanted to hold more slurry, you could put an extension out here. You could place it yourself. Why not? That's cool. CBW, thank you. Mr. CBW does pigs, and he does large quantities of pigs in buildings just like this, I think. But that's cool. I like that. I like to use the AGI shed, the AGI silo here. We don't see this AGI silo. It is base game, but we don't see it used on maps very much. It's very much an American thing. And I think that the American people forget about it because I actually really like that silo, except for the cover. The cover, I believe, is part of this silo, which is a little annoying. I never understood that. My only comment for this silo is that it's floating. So the ground level for this silo and many other silos is actually the lip of the silo. And as you can see, the feet of the silo behind it are all floating above the ground. Super minor, but you want the ground level even level with this lip right here in the middle. So unfortunately, this thing's floating to very slightly. It's not a huge deal, obviously, but that's just the way it is. I like the usage of these things. We don't see those very often, but it's a nicely laid out little farm. A very simple farm plot, lots of open space, lots of space to get big, huge trucks in and out of here. That'd be really easy to do. Nicely done. Now I gotta check something. Now this is not something I could check because of Bruce. Bruce was there, but I gotta check it. Okay, so this was my only comment. I already mentioned this to Shultz offline, but my only comment on this map that I don't like is the fact that it's orange. And what I mean by that is all of the grass that's in between the fields is all crop grass. And that causes all kinds of problems when you start using the fields, especially if if you reseed it to be a grass field. Because then when you kind of go over the edge, it's going to change the shape of the fields by auto creating fields. It's part of the game's engine. But I also like when I go into this menu, I don't want to see the forest highlighted in orange. Why would I do that? I don't care about it's not a crop. It's what is usually meadow, but it can be anything. But I don't want to see it highlighted in orange. I don't want to see the whole map in orange. I only want to see the individual fields highlighted in orange. And for something like field 12, which looks like it's grass, if I am correct, we go here, go down to grass. Like field 12 is ready to harvest, right? Field 12 is ready to harvest. The grass is ready to harvest. What's field 12? It's wheat. Field 12 is wheat. So it has this field shape. But if I'm looking at this, I don't know where the field shape is. It's gone. Because it's showing two things and they're right up next to each other, pixel to pixel. So there's no gap. I'm just not a fan of it. But everyone can make their map there however they want to make it. I do like the grass that's used here. This is not your typical base game grass texture. It looks like it's been messed around with a little bit. There's very much varied heights and varied texture in the grass that's here. I would normally see this as a meadow. I really, really like this grass. This grass looks beautiful. And I'd be curious if, let's say for this field right here, if we come in here and set the field fruit to, oh, and it has all the fetch rye stuff that everyone is using. Grass, harvest ready, confirm and close. So if you look, here's the thing I don't understand. I don't get this. This is crop grass, which looks like this. This is harvest ready crop grass. This is, I don't know, but the game is registering it as grass as a crop. And so I'm confused. I don't know how the game is registering this as a crop when the crop actually looks like this. The only thing I can think of is that when I saw this on another map, actually the same map used the same pattern. There's like in one crop, there's two crops inside of one crop, where there's grass, which is your normal like growth stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's a second crop inside the same file, which is a cool technique, granted. But in this case, I would always expect this to be grass, and whatever this look is, I would personally think this should be meadow. And for that matter, let's look. Do we own this field? No. How do we own it? Own, buy. Yes. And when we own the field, do we own the border? Yes, we own the border. I want to check this out. Checking. Construction. So this is the whatever this grass. This is the grass. This is the secondary grass. But what happens if we go to? Where am I looking for? Painting trees, plants. Meadow medium, meadow small growing, meadow medium growing, meadow. What? This is meadow harvest ready. What? That's meadow harvest ready. This is meadow big growing. This is meadow big. These are all kind of messed up. Like these, whatever these paint textures are that were created. Shultz, just a heads up. These are all kind of weird. Because if you look at here, this is supposed to be meadow small, right? That makes sense. This is meadow medium and meadow big, right? And this whole texture here is meadow big, but I feel like the game is registering it as grass. This is meadow small growing. This is meadow medium growing. And this is meadow large growing. And then this is meadow harvest ready, which is not harvest ready at all. That's the meadow harvest ready one looks a little weird. Or like they're all off by one growth stage or something. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, you can see where this texture comes from. And now that I've painted it, you can see on the map where I painted the which one was it? You can see where I painted the meadow construction. So whatever in the map, it's called meadow small, and then meadow, these third set, like this fourth set, 10, 20, 30, 40. The first one, 10, 20, 30. This one is actual meadow, the way the game thinks of meadow. Because where I painted those, you can see on the overhead map, it has taken away the grass. Now this other meadow that's here is like the inside the grass texture meadow, which is part of this map set, which is part of the crops that come with this map. But my point is that it shows right here on the screen why it's weird and can potentially not work correctly. And then the other thing is if we get, actually, let's just do it real quick because I'm thinking about it. Let's see if what I think is going to happen is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm checking it. I'm going to test it. Teleport. We're going to go up to the field we just painted on. Right? And we're going to do this. X. Go down. And I'm going to go and mow off the line of the field. Now, I'm not on the field anymore. And I'm intentionally not mowing in a straight line. And then we're going to go over the meadow part right here. Then we're gonna look at our map. And so, do you see how this is showing us harvested? That means that it's a crop. And if we go back to this one, oh, here, crop types, I have grass turned off. So the cool thing is it's not merging, it's not expanding the field. So that's a good thing. But it's, I don't know, like this middle area in between the fields thinks that it's grass, but it's not grass, but it's meadow. Oh my gosh, I just realized that. That's what it is. That's why I'm so confused. And it's just my confusion. Totally cool. Meadow is shown. This is mind-blowing. Actually, Shultz, I don't know how or why you did this, but this is actually cool in a weird way, right? Meadow normally does not show up on maps. And so there's two different heights of meadow. They're all one crop, right? But meadow shows up as a crop, which never happens. Most maps don't do that. I actually really like that. And if I ever make a map, I'm totally going to do that same idea. Because I always never know what the growth stage of meadow is, right? If I have meadow, I want to know what the growth stage is, right? And I mean, field grass I've seen. So all of this same stuff, rye, triticale, spelt, silage maize, vetch rye, green rye, hummus active. There's missing an E in the hummus active, by the way. And hummus active is 2 words. Mustard, flowering catch crop, alfalfa, clover, field grass. Those are all the crops from the prefab set that's out on ModHub, right? We all know about all those crops. The last map we toured, Guy style, had the same crops. And I actually really like them. They look really good. It's all good. I like them. It's a good extra crops on the map. It's lots of fun to play with, yada, yada, yada. But this one is new. This is a Shultz thing, I think, and I know how he did it. But showing meadow as a crop just doesn't happen, right? It's not the showing meadow as a crop. You have to put show on map equals true. Because if you show it here, show on map equals true, then it should also be here also. Yep, it's here also. So the growth stages for meadow are here. And this is showing that meadow can be planted, which, ooh, that's a good test. Do we have a seeder, Shultz? Do you start with a seeder? I'm hoping you start with a seeder. If not, I'll buy one quick. Whatever, I'll just look in the map store. That's really interesting. Hold on. Oh, this is cool. I'm actually really excited about this. Where? Cedars. Oh, it's not? Interesting. So meadow is not showing up in the cedars. This one's field grass. I remember the icons. This one's field grass. It would be oilseed radish, grass, and then these are peas and spinach, right? But meadow would be typically right there next to, yeah. So it's weird because why this is confusing is because meadow is showing that it can be planted, seeded from March to November, but it's not seedable, right? That's odd. But I actually do like the fact that it shows up. So the fact that it shows up by default as almost the color of grass is cool, but they actually are different colors. So that I like too. Like these are offset colors. They're not the same color. This darker one is grass. The lighter one is meadow, but this meadow is everywhere and showing up everywhere. So that's different. It is showing up like this. I'm actually not too much of a I'm not too big of a problem with that because you can just turn it off and it's gone. You'll never see it ever again. But if you really want to see what the growth stage is of a piece of meadow that you want to mow, like, hey, is my meadow tall enough? Especially if you're not used to a map. That's actually a kind of a cool feature. So it's a positive and negative. The positive is that you can see the meadow, so you see what the growth stage is. The negative is in that if you don't know it's there, you're going to get confused and think it's grass. And then also this confusing part where it shows that you can seed meadow, which you can't seed meadow. There is no seeder that does meadow unless you add meadow to the direct seeders or to the seeding categories, to seeders category, at which point you could seed meadow, hypothetically. I don't know why you'd want to, but whatever. For realism, I could see why you want to. But that's kind of cool. I like that. Totally distracted, honestly. I'm going to go back to flying around the map. I very much enjoy that feature. It's different, it's unique, and it's done in an interesting way. I actually like it. And again, I still like these, the way the aqueduct things are done. It looks like it's done from the, I don't know if this was painted or mapped for FS or something, but it's interesting. What's back here? Okay. So back here, we got our sawmill. We got a Freelander shed. Is that what they're called? Is that what they're called? I forget what they're called. I swear it's called a Freelander shed or something. Sheds. Farmlander. I was so close. So close. Hey, everybody, and welcome in Herd and everyone coming from Herd stream. Thank you so much for coming over. Thank you for joining along. We are touring a couple maps, and I've spent too much time on Shultz's map so far, and we have 2 or 3 other maps to get to. But I think we're getting close to being done. So we have a lot of big open, really big open, not completely flat, but mostly flat farmlands. Some big square fields. If you like it, you're gonna get to what you're gonna get what you like. This is the, I like this building from, this is from Riverbend Springs. I hadn't seen it reused yet, but it looks really good. You have another farm down here with the contractor, the Rudolph Foreman contractor barn, a ridiculously sized silo, and a farmhouse. Down this end of the map, we have what looks like a production. Yes, it's going to be a production. Wait, no. The visit trigger, by the way, Shultz, it's putting you inside the building, which is kind of a bummer. Because the farmland number is inside the building, that's the only reason that happens. But this looks like a big biofuel plant. Oh, cool. This is the biofuel and ethanol plant. Nice. It's weird that you can buy the property and not the plant. If I buy the property, do I get the plant? I buy the property. And now the plant shows up. Central ethanol. Yep. And if do I own it? Oh, cool. So the plant's only 86 grand and you get the land around it too. That's cool. I like that. Oh, I wanted to can I own 46? I wanted to test 46 also. Buy, yes. And then we're going to buy this one too. Yes. A couple things, minor things I wanted to test real quick. And I will do some more testing off stream once we're done with the tour, but I want to test this one right now. Okay. So even though there's weeds, it's mowing pretty smoothly. It's not dumping the biggest amount of grass. That doesn't look like a lot of grass normally. I don't know if it's because of the weeds or whatnot, but it is a consistent mow. And I would assume that once this regrows, this will all just be meadow. And we can test that here by seeing, if you look, this swath through the middle is now solid. And if we go back to our crop types, turn on meadow. Yeah, so now basically in between's a bunch of weeds. Once you mow it, it all turns into meadow. That's cool. And then we also wanted to go over here. And it looks like we got a cool town here with gas station. Got some other properties and houses. The roads are very kind of on the north, south, east, west. Very much so. We have two cafes. There's another cafe somewhere else. And then this. No. Oh. I went to the wrong neighbor property. I bought this one. And so the grass here is too low to mow the first time. If you mulch it, it'll trigger it to go. If we go to the next day, it might trigger it to grow. I'm not sure. It looks like there's a bunch of construction projects on here. So this row of houses are houses that are being built. And oh, that's cool. Shultz, I really like that. So it looks like there's a bunch of construction project houses on this row of houses, but all of them need to be built. But the cool thing, which I've never seen before, which is really awesome, is that each house is in a different stage of completeness. So most maps, when you get a construction project, it looks like this, where it's just an empty thing. There's nothing done. There's no progress, right? But I really like how these are in like different stages of completeness. It's like, oh, hey, there's a new neighborhood being built here. These are the houses of the neighborhood. You buy the land, you own all of these construction projects, and then once they're done, they all become houses. It would be even cooler if once they were done, they became rental properties. And I'm sure you could do that with like a rental property sign or something like that, where you'd make some money off of them being rental properties. So you buy it, you maintain it, you build the houses, they become rental properties. I think that would be super cool. But I really like these in different layers of completeness. Shultz, you'll have to let me know how you did that. This is like a playground for giants. Like the scale of these playground implements are massive. I don't know why my game is showing me like not actually running. That's super weird. It looks cool, but like these are the biggest playground equipment I've ever seen. Look at this. This whirly gig or whatever the thing's called is taller than I am. Oh, I'm not running around because I'm still flying. Okay, that's fine. And it looks like there's more construction projects on a couple more of these plots of land, which is cool to see. I actually like the idea of a town being built up slowly and it's not complete. Therefore, there's more stuff to do. There's more stuff for you to do when you move into this town. I like that. I think that's a cool feature. And then we'll go back over here to the main farms. The main farm is going to have Shultz's awesome feedlot, and which just looks killer. Such a big space for cows. We have a contractor barn with a bunch of equipment. Looks like you got every piece of equipment you could ever need. I always like using this thing with this thing, because then you can it's like multiple ways of dealing with the silage. Got a truck with a big Krone trailer. We got a massive John Deere header, and I think if I remember correctly, in one of these barns, where's the barn? In one of these barns, we have John Deere, John Deere, John Deere. It is a John Deere dealership, so why not? We got a bunch of tractors, 3 tractors, grain thingy. This looks like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. A horse barn. We don't see horse barns very much, but that's cool. We have the big, huge, super convey all. I don't know why I keep getting that error. I'm very sorry for that showing up on the screen all the time. The commodity shed, which is great. Huge silage clamps because you're going to need a lot of silage for that many cows for that feedlot. And then something you don't see on your own farm every once in a while, which is a weighing scale. That's interesting. And then here we got another John Deere with a corn head. And then is this the John Deere without the header? Oh, we have speed. We have a seeder, planter, sprayer, everything you need to make an awesome field. And we have really beautiful alfalfa crop. Nice. I actually really like it. I mean, it's not really my kind of map, but there's a bunch of features on this map. And I think the town, while the town is really well done. It's believable as if it's a town. You're not going to go through this town very often. But the cool part about this town, and I think one of the things that Shultz thought of, which I think is great, and the more modders need to do this, is the fact that if you look, there's multiple plots of land here where you can buy this whole block of houses. And then it's all meadow grass around the houses, which means it's not going to create fields, but you're going to be able to mow it and it's going to create grass. And so if you want to do like a little contractor thing, like where I'm the guy who mows these people's lawns and use an actual normal sized lawnmower to get in around the houses, that'd be a fun little thing. It'd be a cool way to start a map. And it gives you the ability to do that. And because the way these houses are decorated, where there isn't very much around, it kind of gives you the ability to do that. If there's a ton of playground equipment and all kind of stuff around the houses, it'd be harder to mow and do that thing as a role play. But this way, the way it's done, it's not too bad. I like it. It's different. Yeah, so that's the Panhandle, which I think is pretty fair for the name of the map. It looks great. And then this forest, we kind of skipped over the forest, but that forest is a lumberjack's dream, honestly. Looks like it's all but I like this kind of forest, this style of forest personally, where you have varied trees. You have at least 2 or 3 different types of trees, and they're all in different heights. It's not just all one height. It's all not just all same old. That's boring to me. I do like the texture. The forest ground looks good with lots of bushes, and there's some grass and stuff in here too, but bushes and weeds and all kind of stuff. Like, I think you'd have some fun clearing this out and maybe making your own farm up here. That'd be pretty cool. Well done, Shultz. It looks great. I think we only noticed one minor bug, which was that floating house. But other than that, everything looks awesome. And I actually, even though when I was watching Bruce's stream, I saw the meadow grass thing, and I was like, why is that like that? I don't understand. Now that I understand it, I actually kind of like it, and I think I might use that idea in the future. But that's the Panhandle by Shultz Modding. Shultz is in the chat if you want to ask him any questions. Oh, those are rental placeables. Oh, sign at the playground. There's a sign at the playground. Hold on. At the massive playground. There's a sign at the oversized playground. I don't see it. I'll go find it on my own later. I like how this water tower is a construction project too. That's kind of cool. Is it actually a construction project or just look like one? Anyways, we got to jump to the next map. Thank you very much. If you have any questions for Shultz, definitely reach it out. This is on ModHub for all platforms, and there's a bunch of Shultz's mods that are the only mods required are Shultz's mods, and by all means, I think that's totally fair. Awesome. Let's quit and go to the next map. The next map we're going to jump through it pretty quickly because we've already seen it once. The next map we'll do is going to be Blue Island Forest. Now, we have already toured Blue Island Forest once, but we're just going to go over it one more time just because it's worth it, because it's awesome. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do player movement this time. See what happens. Maybe player movement is what's causing the problems. But yeah. Start. No updates. Don't care about updates. I think I have to update easy dev. It just looks like, okay, that's cool. The water tower, I think, would be, I want to make a mod for a buildable water tower that requires the iron mine / metal fab / metal rolls and all kind of stuff. So you're actually building things logically. I want to make some mods like that myself. And maybe a water tower would be one of them. But it would require Silver Run Forest kind of thing. So anyways, this is blue. It was called something. It was called Blue Pine Ridge before. And I think the blue pine area theme stayed, but I think some of the map changed. Like, for whatever reason, like if we look at the overall map, if I'm remembering correctly, I remember there being like an area over here in this general vicinity where you started, and then the rest of the map was like this. But I think like this whole area over here, I'd have to go look at the old maps. There was land here, and now it's an island instead of being a ridge. So it's Blue Pine Island. And one of the biggest features for this map are the blue pines, obviously. And so the blue pines are going to be these, not blue pine, blue spruce, sorry. Blue Spruce Island. Are these spruce trees. And these spruce trees look really great. I think they are that kind of, they're just a hint of blue to them, which I think really looks good. And in all honesty, if I ever made a map, I would love to include some of these placed sporadically throughout the forest because I think they look great. I think it's just a really, really nice texture and a really interesting thing that makes this map stand out. And the other cool thing I like about these spruce trees, and one of the reasons I like them, is the branches are really long, which means you can have fewer trees. Like the density of these trees isn't really dense. It's actually pretty well spread out. But from the outside perspective, right, if we turn on flight mode and we jump up a little bit, from the outside perspective, like the forests seem pretty full, right? Like from here, it seems pretty full. The nice thing is that the distance texture on these trees is really well done, where even if you get back a bit, they fade out a little bit, just enough so that it's not messing with your view. But as soon as you get close, they're there. And even it works really good, and it also makes this map a really, really small download. So while this map is very much a forestry heavy map, it's a very, very small download. It's only like 50 or 60 megabytes or something like that. It's tiny. But it's a full-size map, and we're going to fly around it a little bit. This is obviously the second version of it, but a lot of the stuff is similar, where you've got these nice roads. Some of the roads are like they're here are off camber. Not all of them, but some of them are off camber. So just be wary when you're driving trucks around those corners. They are off camber in some places. Some places like around here, they're not. But you do have a lot of kind of path through the forests. You have one field in the middle. I think that's the only field on the map. There you go. Your postage stamp wheat field, just for the sake of having a field. I believe Giants requires there to be at least one field. One of the other cool features of this map, which we looked at before, is these kind of really long wooden bridges. Now, I did hear a comment that people would like to see some support structure for these bridges to make them look a little bit more realistic. It's honestly not very realistic now, but that's okay. And I think if I remember the original version of this map, is there was a ridge. Like this bridge was way up here higher. There was a big high ridge up here. This whole area was much higher off the ground. So I think this is a totally different map than the one he already released, which I believe is on the Shantyboys website. But I do love the usage of the sawmill. This, I believe, is the sawmill from Zelonka. It would be even better if these log pools actually worked. I really wish Giants would get on that and actually make the log pools work. But I love the usage of the logs floating in the water. I think that's great. It's a really great look. I just wish it actually worked like it does in Silver Run. So your sawmill is over here on the map. You've got some very, very hilly terrain. And the one other cool thing is because the Shantyboys map, you can buy everything. So Mr. T-Bone did a good job here where you buy quarters of the map, the entire quarter of the map. It's not perfectly square, but it's a whole quarters of the map. One, two, the little field that you can buy is one. The rest, everything around it is two. Up here is four. There's another field over here, field 2, and then field 6. So you only have 6 farmlands and an 86 acres for $187,000. And the number of trees that are on here, minus the water, you're going to make back your money pretty quickly. So that makes this map pretty simple. But if you like some heavy duty, very hilly forestry, then this is going to be the map for you. Unfortunately for me, I like mowing, and this is the only grass on the map, and it's like on these epically tall hills, and so that's going to be a challenge to mow. And then we have another really long bridge, and a very flat road that comes over here, and then it comes up this part of the road. Just be careful, it's a bit wonky. It's going to be dangerous to bring up here with a truck and trailer. Off camber means that when you're driving on a hill, the road is angled. It's not flat around the curve. It's actually off camber. Off camber means that you're leaning to the outside of the corner. A cambered hill would be like the Daytona, where the tracks are like this, and you're on the inside of the curve. When you're on the outside of the curve, it's called off camber. So there's some big spots here on the map that are off camber. So just be careful when you're driving on these big trucks. This is where you drive. If you're driving too fast, you're going to flip your truck or roll your truck. And if you got a truck full of logs, that means you're going to be in a whole big mess. And then out here we have Ducky's. Nice. Ducky's Pit Stop, Ducky's Family Diner. And we have our biomass heating plant to make some money off of your things. We do have another field here that was harvested. So it was barley. It's been harvested. I do like these. I like the usage of the spindly dead trees in certain parts of the map. I think that's kind of cool. Lots of water. Bruce tested this, and it does support fishing. You can fish here, but obviously no boats because giants. That's all I'm going to say about that. But some really hilly terrain. So if you like some forestry with some, what's that thing called? The logging thing with the ropes and the chains and the, can't think of the name right now. That thing. But yeah, these are some hilly terrain. But and luckily he starts you off with all the equipment you're going to need. He starts you off with a big flat deck trailer so you can bring your logging equipment out to where it needs to be. Obviously, you're not going to drive the Shebogan or Cinnabogin. You're not going to drive the Cinnabogin across the entire map, or you're not going to drive the Hannibal across the entire map at like 2 miles an hour or whatever that thing goes. You're going to put it on a flat deck. So he gives you a flat deck with an Anthem. He gives you a Cinnabogin for loading logs. He gives you a big, huge case with a mulcher on the front, and he even gives you a Volvo, a secondary loader, and a third Volvo with all of the forks and buckets and all kind of stuff. So this is a logging map. This is a logging friendly map, and this is where your shop is. It's using the shop from Elm Creek. I'm sorry, not Elm Creek. Riverbend Springs. This is the actual shop from Riverbend Springs. But when it's nice, but even though you are going to do some farming, he does give you a harvester and a Kubota and a plow and a seeder. You got pretty much everything you need. So if you like farming maps, definitely. Mr. T-Bone, if you're watching, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, release these trees as a prefab. Let everyone else be able to include them on their maps too. Those trees are awesome. I love the look of them. I love how they feel. I love how it looks to kind of use them and whatnot. I think they should be something you see on more maps. I understand that it's on this map now, but maybe after Christmas or as a Christmas present or next year sometime, release it as a prefab so other people can use it, because those are awesome trees. They're very much the spruce trees from FS22, and I love those spruce trees. So that's all I can say. I really hope that comes out as a prefab. But that's it. You basically have this island, and this is your island in the middle of this ocean area or pond, lake, whatever, to conquer. And you really are going to have to conquer it because those some serious hills. But anyways, that's the blue, what's it called? Blue Island Forest. What did I call it? What's the title of the video? I don't remember. What's it called? I'm gonna have to go back to my main thing. Blue Island Forest. Okay. Blue Forest Island, Blue Island Forest, whatever. Awesome, Mr. T-Bone. Thank you for doing the update and getting it out to all platforms. Originally, this map, the Blue Pine Ridge, was PC only on the Shantyboys website. I believe it's still there. I'd have to double check. But now it's out here for all platforms. So happy this came up for all platforms because I really like this map. It is a challenging forestry map, and I think we haven't had very many challenging forestry maps. We've had a lot of forestry maps, but nothing as challenging as that. So take that as you will. Delete, yes. And then we're going to jump on to Island, Kentucky. Island, Kentucky is also by Mr. T-Bone. Mr. T-Bone is just rocking it out of the park lately with the Shantyboys. Deselect all, select that, select that, select that, select that, select that. Again, no required mods. No, I don't want to update that mod right now. Thank you very much. It's too late. I should have done it earlier. And a quick welcome and hello to everyone I didn't see. Dust Money, thank you for being here. Kiwi Sim Farmer, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here. Gold Gaming, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. And we're going to jump through another couple maps. 2 more maps. We got less than an hour, so I think we're doing okay. And I do have a 5th map that we can look at if we get time. Okay. This is Mr. T-Bone's 2nd map that came out today. I don't know how he gets 2 maps out one day, but whatever. Again, we're still seeing the Riverbend Springs dealership and area. I understand that it's easy, but personally, I think I would love to see something else. Some other buildings, some other usage for the store. And not only that, like these are just break them up into 2 different buildings if you want. Don't put them exactly in the exact same layout. Like make it a little bit more interesting, but whatever. We have another farming map. And if we look at our overall map, I don't know why this happens. This is a farm sim thing. And if anyone in chat knows why this happens, it has something to do with the way people take screenshots of their map and then the way that the crops are overlaid on the maps after the screenshots are taken. Because the right side of the map is lined up, right? The fields are pretty much lined up with the properties, yada, yada, yada. Why? Okay. The fields are lined up with the properties, but on the right here on this part of the map, you see how like the field is like offset from where it should be? Like substantially. And I don't understand why that happens. I almost feel like someone needs to create a tool that goes into GE and takes perfect screenshots at a high level, facing perfectly straight down with the best distance settings possible, and then stitches them together into an actual PDA. Like there needs to be a PDA tool for GE, because I feel like some people are able to do it really well and some people aren't. I don't understand what it is. It's not just Mr. T1. I've seen a lot of people have the same problem. I've had the same problem. I don't understand what makes it happen, but it has something to do with the way screenshots are done and how the fields line up to those screenshots. It's just odd. It's weird. Nothing special. But anyways, we have on this map, we have all the base game crops, nothing, no extra crops, but that's cool. And I did see Mr. T-Bone and Matt just jump in, and CS Benji, welcome in. Thanks for being here, Charles. But let's get into it. I didn't really watch Bruce's tour of this map, and I'm very sorry for not doing that, but I'm gonna go up and fly around if I can remember how that works. There we go. And no, I hit the wrong button. And so we have a relatively, well, looks like relatively flat map on this side. And then it looks like over here. Oh, that's off the edge of the map. It gets a little bit hilly. Oh, it's actually down at a completely other level. Okay. But it looks like the map itself is pretty flat for the most part. Not as much. There are some undulations and some like hills and valleys and ditches. This ditch looks like it should have water in it, but it doesn't. That's weird. This area is lots of undulations in this area. In the water areas, but the fields are very flat. So if you like your flat fields, go for it. This map's perfect. The one cool thing I like about this map, and I'll go in my screen here, is, let me get out of this flight mode, is this grass, which is, I believe, meadow. Yeah, so we're not showing it up. So this is all meadow grass. If we go back over here, this meadow grass is hella tall. This is my kind of meadow grass. I love tall meadow grass. I don't know why, but I think meadow grass should be waist high, especially considering the amount of grass you get from it when you mow it. The only downside with making it this tall is like these plants. I don't know if you see these flowers. These flowers are super stretched out because you're taking a model that's this tall and you're stretching it to be twice as tall. If you can overlook that, I can. I don't know if you can, but I can. Then you got some really tall grass here. And I believe I also heard that some of the other crops are also taller. Like a lot of these stuff feels tall. Like these ferns. Since when are nettles like human height? Nettles, or what are these called? Is that what they're called? Nettles? Since when are they human height? They're almost always much smaller. Those are just some tall crops. And then you get this tall grass right next to sorghum. And the sorghum kind of looks normal height, maybe a little taller than normal. But dang, that's some tall grass. Cattails, thank you. Not nettles, cattails. That is some tall grass. That is a look. I've never seen any map that has meadow this tall that's as tall as the crops. That's pretty epic. But we got some big huge fields. They're not necessarily square fields, but they are relatively squared off. They'd be good for workers, but some big fields. I would not want to harvest this field right here. Parsnips are the devil. I can't stand parsnips and red beets and stuff like that. Oh, I like this over here. So when you get out of the fields, I love how there's a lot of texture around the roads. The roads are all raised up a little bit. They have ditches. The roads are also not flat. I mean, this road is not flat at all. It has off camber on both sides. So this is Bruce of flip trailers all day long on this road. I like this little farmhouse here. This would be good. Is this a separate thing you can buy? Where am I? I don't even know. No, you can't buy it. So this little farmhouse is part of plot 17, it looks like. Yes. This little farmhouse is part of plot 17. So for 89 grand, you can buy this entire massive forest and you get this farmhouse. So 89 grand for a farmhouse, not bad. 89 grand for a farmhouse and a little bit of grass, and then another farmhouse, actually 2 farmhouses you get with it. Hopefully they're farmhouses you can actually live there. That would be cool. But in this massive forest, like this is a big forest. And in contrary to the previous map, there's a lot more diversity in the trees. You kind of have sections of trees where you have the trees on the right side of the ridge line are all the pine trees, and the ones on the back side are all the ponderosa trees. So that's pretty cool. It's an interesting look, and it would be a lot of fun for forestry. And then down here in these forests on plot 15, you have a lot more of a mixture of trees, which I like. They're a little bit more dense than Mr. T-Bone usually does, but there's also a lot of deciduous trees in here, which are not going to be forestry friendly. So this forest is like a half forestry, half wood chipping forest. So if you're going to be in this forest, you're going to want to have a wood chipper, and you're going to want to have a sell point that maybe gives you a bonus for wood chips, or a biomass heating plant, or a production that makes wood chips, something like that. We've got a nice little I like that logo on here. Did you make that logo, Mr. T-Bone or Matt? That's a nice logo. I like that. Animal dealer from Riverbend Springs. Easy enough. Test. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, it looks like everything lost signal. The game crashed, and it crashed my whole computer, sort of. It just like went futsy. So I'm gonna have to start over. My bad. I don't know what happened there. It's just like, it like freaked out as soon as I saw that animal dealer. I think it just doesn't like that animal dealer. What map am I on? I don't remember. Island, Kentucky. That's the one we're on. Continue. Deselect all. Select all. Deselect all. What the hell's going on? I don't care about that. It's like a whole bunch of stuff restarted all at once. Like, just to be mean to me. Start. I don't care. I still don't care. I don't want to update it. Sorry about that little glitch there. I don't know what happened. It just poof. I'm happy that the computer didn't die. And I think we still have sound and music, so. Okay, escape. Wildy. That was some messed up shit. Where were we? We were over here at this forest that you need some wood chipping from. A significant amount of wood chipping. I would recommend the Tree Devourer. That one's my favorite. But there's a couple other ones that work pretty well too. Anyways, we were over here at the animal dealer. I think Bruce pointed this out, but I'll just call it out again. This part of the animal dealer is floating. This part is not. And it's because on Riverbend Springs, these are all one object. And on Riverbend Springs, there's a slight incline between this hill, this building, and this building, which is why these little posts right here and these things are all floating when they shouldn't be. Minor, but just a heads up, let you know. I like the live animals, though the grass is so tall you almost can't even see them. If those cows lie down, you don't have any idea that they're there. Are there any other animals here? Yes. We have some ninja sheep because they're hiding in the tall grass. Is there any horses? No horses. There's some pigs, but no chickens. It's okay. We got what we came for. And the super tall grass. Ooh. I like this pond. This is a nice pond. I actually like the green. The green. And thank you for not putting grass on the bottom of the pond. Because ponds don't have grass growing in them. But I think this pond looks really great. It's decorated really nice. Some nice decorations on there. I love all the varied ground textures that kind of merges with the forest too. That looks nice. I like that pond. I don't know what you could use that pond for, but I'm sure you could find something. Maybe fishing. Now, this is one of the things that stood out to me when I was watching Bruce's map tour, is this field. Like, who in their right mind would have made a field like this? Not from a mapping perspective, from a reality perspective. Like, you know what this feels like? This feels like a field, and then this feels like there should be a power line running straight down the middle of this field, going across this field, across the map that direction, right? That feels like a power line cutout, especially because it's like forest on either side and then like area in the middle. It feels like a power line cutout, which, yeah. Is it a real life field? That's such a weird shape for a field. I love it. I mean, yeah. Courseplay or Giants' AI is gonna hate that field, but what of? That reminds me, I want to make a map. I want to make a forestry map, and don't steal the idea because I'm telling everyone right now. But I want to make a map called the Power Line, and it's just going to be like a Washington style map that's literally just a power line, and that's all it is like a very hilly power line area with forests on both sides, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And I'll fork a dealer in there, and I'll fork a something else in there. Oh, this whole map is based off Google Maps. Oh, that's really great to know. I want to meet the guy who made that field. Seriously, Mr. T-Bone, that is a weird shaped field. That's just wonky. I like it. I actually love the fact that you used real life terrain. I find personally, my personal preference is I actually like maps that are based off real terrain because you get stuff like this. Like you get stuff like this area right here with all the like the watery areas, and like this was probably some kind of marshy area or whatever from the real life terrain. And because as a map maker, setting this up so that it is this bumpy and crazy and all kind of stuff would take a lot of effort. And so by using real terrain, you kind of bypass that. And I think that's pretty cool. And I also love the fact that fields aren't square. I personally, no offense to anyone who likes those things, but I'm not a fan of square maps. I just get bored too easily. Right. But I love the map. I love the fact this is based on real life fields. There is a little problem here where the field right here doesn't match where it was painted. So the grass doesn't go right up to the field's edge. Minor, but it's there. And I also love places where you see this, where you have like a stand of trees that cut into a field and someone that has just made a field around those stand of trees. I actually really like that. That feels very legit and realistic to me. And it looks like we have a warehouse, logistics center place, pallets and whatnot. But overly, mostly flat area. So if you mow for the most part, it's going to be undulating, but overall relatively flat. See, you go side to side, you see that like slight roll to the hill. I mean, it's not, it's cool. And we're going to get to Brennan's map in just a minute. And then we got a big, huge farmhouse here, and a big farm with. This must be a secondary farm, but it's a big open area that you can do whatever you want with. It's not decorated. There's not a lot of trash to clean up. There's not a lot of stuff to get rid of. I'm assuming if we have money. No, we don't have money. If we buy this area for 29 grand. So I'm going to buy that area for 29 grand. And then I'm going to come in here and go to construction mode. And I'm going to delete this thing. And I'm going to get 251 grand. So I'm already net profit of 225 grand. 225 plus 175. Let's call 175. So that's 400 grand net profit. Sell that. So 420 grand net profit from buying that land and just clearing the crap off of it. Not crap, but the existing buildings off of it. And then you have a clean slate to do whatever you want and build a nice farm. Cool. All right, let's get out of flight mode and let's go to the default farm, the starting farm. Let's check out what we got. Ooh, nice. Good choice, Mr. T-Bone. Not too many people will go balls to the wall and start off with a Massey 9S. That is a nice choice. You guys always pick the best equipment for starting off your maps. Seriously? Mac Anthems. Freaking 7R with duels and duels and duels. And the Shantyboys. And just in case you didn't like this telehandler, we're going to give you another a front loader, because a front loader and a telehandler is 2 for the price of 1. Why not? It's already strapped down for you, so you can just get in the truck and drive away. Can I get in the truck and drive away? Boop, boop. Yep. And I like how the telehandler is resting. I like how the telehandler is resting its fork on top of the on top of the Kubota. I like that. I don't know why. That just makes me laugh. But this is a starting farm. It's a kind of it's a simple farm, not too much decoration, which if decoration gets in your way, then it's a very simple farm. We got yourself a farmhouse sleep trigger. We got an easy shed. We got some we got 3 tractors. Gosh, 3 tractors on here. All of them with duals. We got an M8, we got a 9S, and a 7R. I mean, that's some heavy hitting equipment. We got a big ass case AF11. This is a $700,000 harvester with a big, huge corn header. A Mack truck with a flatbed. Another Mack trucks, 2 Mack trucks, one with a grain trailer and one with a flatbed. And we got the biggest seeder and the biggest planter in the game. I swear. So we got a horse planter, no, a horse seeder and a horse planter. The biggest horse planters and seeders in the game. Because we got big fields. I mean, the answer is we got big fields. I mean, these are big, huge, massive fields. And not only that, you start off with this massive grass field, which is music to my ears, especially considering it's the tallest grass ever. And you can start off by mowing this grass, making a couple $1 million if you roll it into silage and sell it. And then you can make your own field on this make your own field instead of having meadow grass. And you're set for life. And of course, these properties are cheap. The land here on this map is very, very cheap. 354 grand for 22 hectares. That's not bad at all. This one is farmland 11 is this field. Farmland 16 is the outer areas. So Mr. T-Bone, if you're here, I would suggest moving the number 16 right here in the middle of this river area, or maybe up here, or maybe up here, so that the number is not on top of another field. It's not a problem. It's not a bug. It just means that it's just kind of like, which one's the field? Because if you move the 16 here, and then you move the 11 here, then it makes sense. They're tied to each other. And then also this 25, I would move that on the road. Right now, it's kind of a little bit off the road. Those are my only minor feedback. Everything else, I think it looks great. It's a simple map. You've only got 20 some odd properties, a bunch of fields, a bunch of crops. You've got plenty of nice forestry and plenty of wood chipping forestry to do. You've got some productions down here. We've got the sawmill. We've got the farmer's market, carpentry, animal dealer, all the stuff that comes in the animal dealer. You got your dealership right here. You got the warehouse, 2 triggers for the warehouse. Up here, we have a grain barge terminal, even though there's no water. That's kind of weird. You got everything you need. And that is, what was the name of this map again? What was the name of this map? And that was Island, Kentucky. Yes, and that was Island, Kentucky by Mr. T-Bone. Okay, there's too many islands here. And then the last one we're going to check out right now, is going to be Brennan's map. Now, this is Brennan's first map on ModHub, but it is not his first map. Brennan has been following in his dad's and Shantyboys footsteps for a while now. He's made a couple maps on his own. I've actually been able to tour some of them and see some of them before, but most of them are private. This one's the first one on ModHub. So props to Brennan for actually taking the leap and getting on ModHub. We all know how hard it is to get onto ModHub, especially with an all platforms map. So congratulations to Brennan for actually making that leap and getting onto ModHub. Again, no required mods. Everything is there for what you need. It's all base game stuff, base game buildings, base game equipment. But great job getting onto ModHub. Props to you. You beat me there. I haven't been able to get a map onto ModHub yet, but maybe next year. We'll see. And Brennan sent me a screenshot. Brennan, what'd you send me a screenshot of, buddy? Matt, I will tell you how you can move the numbers without repainting them. 100%. It's super easy. In your farmlands.xml, you set it to indicator position and the position of the indicator. I can show you real quick. Boop. Here. Farmlands.xml map US. That's not map US. Map AS. Yeah. See, this is base game, the Asian map, indicator position. That's how you move the indicator to a different position. Super easy. It's just you add one line in your farmland file. You can see this in your own data directory. This is the farmlands.xml for the Asian map. Anyways, that's an easy thing to do. And it's just it's not game breaking. It just reduces confusion. You know what I mean? Like, and I think here's going to be another situation where 19 is in the middle of this farmland, but 25 is also inside the farmland for 19. So if it was me, I would move the indicator for 25 over here. But right now, if you don't specify your own indicator position, the game puts it in the relative center of wherever you painted the farmland, which is not always where you want it, right? So like for 25, I would move 25 here. For number 3, I would probably move 3 in the middle of like the meat of the field, just so it makes more sense. It's super easy to do, but that's how you do it. And here we are on Sunny Farm. I'm not even showing it. Hold on. Go back. I wasn't even showing my screen. Matt, here's the line you need. Farmlands.xml from the Asian map in your data directory. And this is the little piece you need. Indicator position. You're setting an XY coordinate or XZ coordinate in the XML. That's all it is. Super easy to change. One line change in your XML and you can move your map indicators wherever you want. But we're back on Sunny Farm. This is Brennan's first map. Congratulations to Brennan. It looks really good. It looks very clean. I like the, this is like you're starting, this is where you spawn in, but I don't think you own this property. And then, do you own both of these vehicles? Because that would be pretty cool. You do. So if you want to drive around the map in an old IH pickup truck, have fun. If you want to drive around the map in a new Skoda, I mean, who the hell even knows what a Skoda is? You can pick whatever one you want. My only comment here, and this is to Brennan, a little minor detail, but I don't park my car on my front steps. I park my car in my garage. So usually you'd have a path or a driveway that goes to your garage and a path to your front door versus what we have here. Just to make it more believable, because your garage, this is your garage, is, yeah, not usable. But anyways, I'm going to jump in the air because I like to tour these things because we have limited amount of time. I'm going to tour it from the air. I should drink some water before I choke. Brandon, you own that property. He says you own that property. I do? Really? Oh, yeah, you do. Look at that. You do own this property. Sweet. And it goes kind of around this field, which is a little... Holy crap. I'll come back to that. But let's jump in the air. Jump in the air. Thank you. Thank you. And we are down bottom side of the map, bottom middle of the map. We kind of get an overview of what this map entails. It's not, again, it's mostly flat, but not flat. And it has some nice kind of undulations. You can see the undulations when you're at a height like this. You can see the undulations in the fields. So it's not going to be perfectly flat. I do like that it does have some outer side lands. This is the outer lands from Riverbend Springs, but I think it fits with this map and it does a pretty good job of it. We look down, we've got some big fields, not necessarily small fields, but big fields. We've got some significant grassy areas, and with a big patch right here of missing grass, or a couple patches of missing grass here and there, which is, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it is what it is. We got some very varied forests with relatively dense trees, and almost all, not completely all, but almost all forestry harvestable trees. You got a few trees here and there, like the one that I just flew through. Where was it? Somewhere here. Like this one, that are not going to be forestry harvestable, and you're going to have to mulch. But most of them are forestry harvestable, which is nice. I do like the overall flow and feeling of the map. I love the curvature of the fields. I love the shape of the fields. I think it's really great. You got this one right here, 6. I don't know which one's bigger, 6 or 1. Let's look. I think 1's bigger. 6 looks close though. 41.2 hectares for 6, and this is gonna be 50. So this one's bigger, this one's smaller. My only comment, Brennan, I think is going to be, as of right now, my first comment is the farmlands. And the cost of the farmlands, the cost of the fields. I mean, yes, this is a big field, but if this is the default farmland cost of $60,000, that's a Giants number. That's not a US number. 60,000 is the way Giants sets up the default farmland per acre cost. In the US, I'm pretty sure, based on the area you're basing it in, the cost per acre is going to be a lot less than that, 10 to 20, maybe $30,000 per acre. But $1.2 million for that, $3.1 million for that. Those are some pretty hefty field prices, which is going to make it hard to progress. But there are plenty of smaller fields you can come in here. So these are like this one's not bad, 75 grand, 154 grand for this one, 225 for that one. But these really big ones, they're going to be really hard to actually get your hands on. But other than that, and then my only other comment is this. I can understand starting off with the starter farm right here. And I know you start off with this Mahusa field, which is great because then you don't have to buy it. But this starter farm is not just the starter farm. You own most of the map. And to me, that's a slight detractor. I always like to see the farmlands themselves match the terrain. So if it was me, I would make this your starting farm up to the tree border, or maybe including the tree border. But having it go all the way around this field and then having your starting farm also come all the way down to the lower left-hand corner of the map, that doesn't seem right. I mean, these sections of forest, like this snake part of the forest, either include that in either of these two fields together or make it a separate piece of property you can buy separately. This whole section down here should be buyable on its own. And like my feeling, and this is just my preference, this forest should follow the borders of the forest, not have an arbitrary line that ends in the middle of a field that you want to turn into a field. Because if I want to turn this grassy area into a field, I have to buy this piece of land on top of already owning this piece of land, which gives me like way too much land, honestly, from my perspective. And that's just my feeling on it. I would love to see these broken down a little bit more into smaller farmlands that are more consumable, especially if you don't start with the starting farm. If you don't start with the starting farm on this map, that's where it becomes a problem. If I don't start with a starting farm, and let's say I want to start my gameplay on your map with this little buildable area right here, right, which is right here. I'm going to start off real small, and I'm going to buy this buildable plot here. I'm going to put down a house and a couple sheds and yada yada. And then what do? What can I do? I can buy this field for 75 grand. I can probably make my money up to that. And maybe a few of these other plots here, but like I can't buy this little plot of grass along the highway right here and mow it and make some money. I can't buy a small section of forest right here and make some money off it. Because the way the farmlands are, it just makes that really hard to do. And so it just makes gameplay really hard to do. That's all. And those are really simple changes to make. Yes, they will require a new game save, but that would be my only comment as far as the farmlands are concerned. But looking at the map's really nice. The trees in the forest are great. I'm not a big fan of the fog, but some people like the fog. It is what it is. Because the map is relatively flat, you're going to have fog at this zone on the entire map, which is a bummer. I don't know what that is going on right there, but that's kind of strange. These forests look really good. These forests are killer. I know you guys, the Shantyboys, are so good at doing forests, but these forests look awesome. Like really, really well done. Sawmill is here. It's good. Some of these trees that are like not in the forest, but they're on the property of the sawmill, that's not really super realistic. I would love to see this sawmill with some like boards stacked all around, still giving you plenty of space to drive in and drive out, but add some decoration, add some like, you know, boards or trees or logs or whatever, all the decorative stuff that we can get from the base game without adding any extra details. I would love to see some more decoration there. Same thing here. This area looks great. It's nice and big and open, but it's almost too open. And because it's too open, it feels empty. And so I'd love to see some more decoration around this map. And potentially, the other thing, let me see if this is what I think it is. Is this part of your starting land? Yeah, so you own this as part of the starting land. So you own this, you own all of these grassy areas, which good and bad, I guess. Because you own all this stuff, you can do whatever you want, basically anywhere on the map when you start. But only if you start with the first person farm. Personally, I would make this whole lot around the farmer's market buyable. So that if I wanted to add other productions in these open spaces around the farmer's market, I could. But I would be able to add like the front area as one farmland, and then the rest of it as a second farmland. And then I could, you know, spend 40 grand to buy this big area and add to what's there. And leave it up to the player. I think that would be cool. But I do like this kind of plateaued farmer's market. It's pretty cool. I like it. I think it's there's a lot more you could do with it, but I like it a lot. I like the fields. I like the shape of the fields. I like the big opened areas. But in some places, like here, why? So if I'm a farmer and I own this land, why would I make the field arbitrarily smaller than the land that I have? And so, and I'm fine with the shape of the field, but why? Why was it cut this way? Because there's no trees along the border or something, or even a dirt road along the border. You don't know why the field is shaped that way. But either way, I do like the shapes of the fields. The shapes of the fields are really good. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, so good. Water. This river, Brennan. Honestly, this river is probably the highlight. I'm going to check the other river after this. This river is the highlight of this map for me. With this really awesome forest on the outsides, the fog, the windy river, the decoration around the river, the water looks awesome. Oh, such good bridges to going over the river. That's perfect. That is perfect. I love these fields where they have the cutouts for the trees. Like the shape for this field, you understand that it's shaped that way because of the trees that are around it. I almost feel like up here should have been more forestry area to cause that field to be shaped the way it is. And then it would have made more sense. To me. Good job adding the water here as well. So you have an excuse to use the barge thing. I like these little bridges. Matt, you already had my comment earlier where that's a really thin board for those bridges, but I like the little bridge, especially the bridge across this little construction area zone. Hopefully that's building a log cabin. I don't know if it is or not, but I think it is. It looks like it. I like that a lot. So yeah, I like this area over here. We're going to drive through this area in a minute because I want to show everyone what I saw on Bruce's stream. This is also really well done, Brennan. This is really cool. I love the look of this. Where you have the little aqueduct thing, pipe going through the road, and then coming out over here. I love the fact that it's not straight. I don't know why I do. I love the fact that it's not straight. The water features on this map are really, really, really well done, Brennan. Is it a single water plane? If you're here, is it a single water plane? In other words, is the water plane underneath the entire map, or is it like a river water plane and another river water plane? Animal dealer, again from Riverbend Springs. This one is not floating. Same animal dealer we saw at the other one with the pigs and the sheep. Oh, there's a horse in this one. Horses in this one. You can actually see the sheep here because the grass is not super tall. As much as I like that super tall grass, it makes it hard to see the sheep. I think that was my feedback when we toured Wampsville too, where on Wampsville they had the grass really tall, which I loved as well. On Wampsville, the grass is really tall also, which I liked. But when it's in the meadow is in a pasture, it makes it really hard to see the sheep. But yeah, nice job integrating the multi-layer level of the bakery. Good job. I've tried to do that before and struggled with it. It's a good job with that. What? Is that legit? Olio or d'oro? Blech. That hurts my tongue to say. Looks good. I like it. This must be the oil mill. Is that what it is? Hold on, let me look at the map. Oil mill, grain mill. Wait, is that where I am? Oh yeah, I'm at the oil mill, and then the grain mill is next. And the previous one was the bakery. Okay. Whoop. And I saw a NPC wandering around here. Nice. And then we have the grain mill here. Nice and big and open lot, but not perfectly flat. So be careful bringing your trucks up here. There's a little bit of a lip right here. And these two guys are just, these two ladies are just having a conversation. Yeah, yep, yep, totally. Nice. All right, and then, yeah, let's go for a drive quick. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna buy this. I'm not gonna mow anything, but I'm gonna buy the Rigid Track. Buy, yes, because this is my truck. I'm gonna tab to the. Oh my gosh, hold on. And so you have like a lot of vehicles. So Brennan is like set you up. If this is your starting farm and you like it, not only is he giving you all the land on the map and enough grass to mow to keep you busy for the rest of your life because you own most of the map, but he also set you up with 3 trucks. He set you up with a pickup truck and the old IH pickup truck way over there. The Kodiak Skoda thing. He set you up with a CV with the bale deck on it. He set you up with a gigantic Rudolph Horman barn. One thing I miss, and I think I don't know how to do this, so I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. I don't know how to do it, but I wish sometimes that maps you could start with these buildings with the doors open. I don't know how to actually do that. I'm sure there's something in the XML code you could do it, but I would love to see the doors open and not have to open them. And he starts you off with like the equipment of a lifetime. 2 X9 harvesters with the wide tracks. We've got 2 corn headers. Oh my gosh. 2 grain headers. 1, 2, 3, 4 John Deeres. 2 8Rs with dualies. 2 9Rs with dualies. And a 7R. I mean, the only thing you're missing is a 6R with a front loader. Like this is what you call a starting fleet. Like it's not just just not your starting equipment. This is a starting fleet. Like this barn has like literally $3 million worth of equipment in it. That's awesome. So if you like John Deere, and I know the Shantyboys for the most part do like John Deere, you can start off with more John Deere than you're ever going to need. And you'll never need to buy another tractor as long as you like John Deere. Oh, I lied. There's the John Deere with the front loader. But it's the old one. I would think to be consistent, you would have picked the 6R, not the 3650. But that's okay. We got some big, huge greenhouses. These are mushroom greenhouses. Pretty cool. We got bale storage. Booyah. Yep. Bale storage. We got 2 of everything. Seriously. 2 of everything. We got 2 augers. 2 big, huge, the biggest Elmer Hallmasters you can get with tracks. We've got 2 cultivators. Big, huge, massive cultivators. The only thing you're missing is lawn mowing equipment. Like, Brennan, you're starting us off with enough grass to kill somebody. And there's no silage pits. There's no silage clamps. There's no silage producing facilities. And there's no mowing equipment. So, like, I have all this meadow around my house, but I don't have a mower. And I have to make silage for And two 18-wheelers. Oh, there they are. Two 18-wheelers. There they are. They're hiding in a barn. Oh, they're hiding in this barn. I totally should have opened it. So two 18-wheelers as well. So yeah, I think the only thing that's missing is silage. Like silage clamps or mowers. I would love to see some mowers and maybe a silage clamp. But there's no animals. So you don't have any animals on the main farm that I can see. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. You do have a massive silo. So that's cool. But yeah, your starting farm has more equipment than you'll ever need. So, or most of the equipment. You're going to have to buy a mower. But, you know, you can sell one of the 9Rs and have enough money to buy all the rest of your equipment. 50 million liters in that silo? That's what I'm talking about. Good job, Brennan. You edit the hell out of that XML. 50 million liters. That's great. It's just what you need. So I want to drive and I want to see this area. So I'm going to make this map a little smaller. And I want to actually experience this area over here. Because Bruce experienced it and I was like, dang, that's freaking cool. And so I want to see it myself. So the roads are not flat. The land is not flat. So I love that. I love that there's some hills and some undulations and stuff like that. The fields are pretty flat. Not perfectly, but pretty flat. And that's good. I like that. And you can tell, so one of the reasons I like using this tractor, whatever you want to call it, especially on map tours, is because it's self-leveling. And it highlights the fact that this road is off camber because the cab stays perfectly level. Like the roof of the cab is level to ground level. But if the angle of the ground is not level, you can see it, and this vehicle highlights it because the cab tilts. And so the cab is always level, but if the road is not, you'll see the cab lean to the left or the right. And that, to me, is a cool way of showing what I'm trying to show. So I want to see this this area here for myself. So we got Willie's Steamboat sell point area, I believe. Is that a sell point? We got contracts. I don't see any rock cracking, whatever they called, rock crushing, deadwood, or there's deadwood. I don't see any rock crushing or wood delivery contracts, but that's okay. And then this is what I wanted to see. And so you got this cool bridge. I like this bridge. Nice job, Matt and Brennan. I like that bridge. I would kind of like to see this bridge have some like a guide rails on the outside, but because you don't you can't completely drive off of it, but you know, whatever. I love the logs that are in the water, but wouldn't they be floating a little higher up? Just saying. And then also, Matt, on the bridge, see these middle two boards? Those are spaced out well. The boards on the outside, they're overlapping, and so you're getting a texture overlap. So if you just move them so the whole thing was wider, so the boards were spaced and had a tiny gap in between them, you wouldn't get that texture overlap thing that's happening there. That's weird. Do you guys see that? Is that you guys or is that giants? Like I'm splashing as if I'm driving through water, but I'm not driving through water. See that? That's kind of weird. Oh, I love this area. I feel like these cattails should continue up this muddy bank right here. I feel like it's just missing in this spot right here. But I saw Bruce drive through here and I was like, oh, more maps. More maps need this. This is so cool. It's like you have this like water path. The road, you have a road, but it happens to be flooded. And then you've got a cutout here that goes into the forest, which looks awesome. Is this mud? I think that's mud. I'm going to do an entire map that's underwater like this. Where all the roads are underwater and flooded. Looks so cool. Love it. That's nice. And then this little windy road through the forest. That's just perfect, Brennan. So well done. Trees are like perfectly spaced. So well done. And then you end up here with this little cabin. And so if I could suggest an improvement, is the lead in is great, like this road and getting into this little piece of property is really great, but then I'm totally underwhelmed by what's here. Does that make sense? Like if this was a log cabin and there was like this was a shed next to the log cabin and like there's some other kind of stuff scattered around, like maybe a lean-to or a little tiny shed for parking your vehicles, or maybe an outhouse, or, you know, a little bit more decoration in this little thing. But I feel like what's here is underwhelming. And while I love it, and I love that actually if we look, and if you guys don't know, this is a separate piece of land that you can buy, right? This is plot number 19. And it's $7,000. It's like the perfect starting point for a thing. But it's a production point. This is the carpentry. But this is a custom carpentry because this is not what the carpentry normally looks like. But it's also they have a planer and that's all they have. And a saw. Like I feel like more could be done with this area. I just feel like it's a little bit underwhelming. That's all. It looks good. And I love the road that leads here. The road that leads here is fantastic. So good. So well done. Yeah. That's very, very cool. Very cool to have this like long road. And also if you're doing forestry around here, the carpentry's right there. Deliver your wood to the carpentry and let them make some furniture for you. Well done. But yeah, this little like water road, like most people would have never thought of this, but I love it. It's super unique. It's super cool. Not enough people are using the drive through the water feature because your car makes waves going through the water, and I think more people need to. So good job. And I do like how you added trees underneath these bridges to support them, to actually make it look more legitimate. And I love how it's just like your entrance in here is kind of hidden. Only downside with this carpentry and this entrance is trying to get around this corner right here with a big rig with a full log trailer behind you is going to be tough. That's a tight corner. This tree's got to go. But that's been Sunny Farm by Brennan Gaming. Great job, Brennan. Really, really good first map. You've got all of the highlights. You've got all of the things to do. You've got some decoration in here. You've got some people walking around. You've got really good roads. You've got amazing, amazing water features. You've got open areas for production. And as Charles says, you've got whatchamacallit, 50 head of cattle somewhere. Oh, I see him. You've got 50 head of cattle, but it's separated from your main farm. So it's over here. I didn't see this little road. So you have an entrance on this side, little gravel entrance in here into your Rudolph. I can't say that name, but you've got the cattle entrance here with the one that takes mineral feed and has a robot, and you've got some cattle. You got some nice cattle, and I like how there's some trees in the cattle field to give the cows some shade. I like that. The texturing on the ground here is also really well done, Brendan. Good job. I love the texturing on the ground. That's nicely done. I like the different ground textures and stuff like that. Really, really cool. There's a sell point on the north end of the map. Did I miss it? I might have missed it. I mean, I've been kind of rushing, so. Oh, there it is. 27. Visit. Sell point. Luckily, going to 27 and saying visit, I didn't end up inside the building. So that's a good thing. And this looks like a building that is... I can buy this land? Buy? And the cement factory. And the hardware Bob sell all. What is that? Nope, wrong way. Hardware Bob sell all. Okay. So this is sell everything, right? Sell point right here up at the side of the map. I kind of like when you have sell points that are kind of off the beaten path and kind of far away. So you kind of have to work to get there. And I do like this thing you've done in a couple of places, Brendan, by the way. I do like this thing where you have two people who are just standing there staring at each other. I almost want to see like one pair of people somewhere on the map who are like super close and they're like getting into it and having an argument. Or like one guy standing and the other guy lying on the ground flailing. That would be hilarious. And then you got a small gas station. But that's it. That's going to be it for me tonight. We got through 4 maps tonight. Oh, I need to get a break. I've been talking too much. 4 maps tonight. We got, and we got the, right here, the cement factory. Again, this is also the same comment from Shultz's map. Cement factory. You're going to be pouring rocks here. These do not look like rocks. This looks like sand. Like, I would hope that these would look like rocks. A super minor thing, but I like realism. And the other thing here is like, okay, you're going to dump here, but why isn't this dump area go from this corner all the way over to this corner? Why does it go halfway or a quarter of the way into this one? That's kind of weird. But super minor. Overall, great job, Brennan. Great map. Great job on your first map. Congratulations on getting the mod hub. And you know what? All of the things that I said are all super easy things to fix. They're just tweaks to the XML or tweaks to some farmlands or whatever. And it's just little things to amp it up to take it to the next level. But great job. Great map. And congratulations. You did a good job. Congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to Mr. T-Bone. 2 more maps on mod hub. I don't understand how you did it. He's got 3 maps on mod, 4 maps on mod hub now. Brennan, first map on mod hub, great job. Shultz, amazing new map. Congratulations on getting a first map on mod hub. I think you had a couple really, really cool ideas, and I can't wait to see what people do with them, especially with all the houses, like the houses in town where you buy a block of houses and they turn into profit areas, and you have stuff with the words. Great job, Shultz, on that. Some really cool ideas on that map. Great job. And while I'm personally, and this is going to be where all the maps are great. I think they're all awesome. You guys all did a great job. I won't play any of them. And that's no offense to any of you, but I need more hills than what you guys have made, and that's fine. If any of the maps, I would probably play the Blue Island Spruce, Blue Spruce Island. What the hell is it called? Damn it, I forgot already. Blue Island Forest. Of all of the maps today, I would probably play Blue Island Forest. I'd be most likely to play that one, mainly because it would be a really fun and challenging and interesting forestry attack. And I've been waiting for a challenging forestry map. I actually also like the original version of that map, which is the Blue Spruce, Blue Pine Ridge, or Blue Spruce Ridge, or Blue Ridge Spruce, or I don't remember what it's called. But either way, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for coming along for this cool map tour. I hope everyone has a really great evening. And until next time, thanks for watching. Congratulations to all the map makers, and thank you for everyone for being here. I'm gonna see if I can find someone to take you. There's a lot of people here. I'm gonna see if I can find somewhere to send you, and so you can go see if there's anyone else streaming. Let me go check. I don't know. Home. Live. Oh, we're gonna jump over to 3Js. It looks like Jess is setting up on Bearhaven Island in Farming Simulator 25 to do some fishing and farming. So let's go over and let me see if she has raiding turned on. Give me 30 seconds and we'll jump over and see Jess. Click the link, click the button, click the edit, click the raid. Where's the raid? Redirect, add, search, Jess, save. And we're going to be jumping over to raid Jess with 3Js on Bearhaven Island. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for watching. And we'll catch everyone next time. If you have any questions for me, check me out on Discord. Oop, there it is. Thank you, everyone.